This Bio 181 video is on cell signaling. It's chapter 9. And in cell signaling, cells are communicating. So they're sending physical molecules to one another. And these molecules are called ligands. So this is the signal molecule. So it's a new vocabulary word, ligand. And it could be any type of hormone or a simple, so it could be something like insulin, or it could be something like a calcium ion. So anything that's sent from one cell to another and is received in a receptor protein. So if I've got a cell over here, right, this is my signaling cell, signaling cell, and it's going to release a signal. So the process through which it releases it often is through exocytosis. So it'll create a little vesicle filled with maybe insulin or something like that. And then it will dump it out into the surrounding fluid. That process is called exocytosis, right? And then it will diffuse, and we'll talk a little bit more about the different types, but it'll go a short distance or a long distance, and eventually it will get to a cell that has a specific receptor. So if this molecule, if we zoomed in, maybe it has a very characteristic shape, maybe something like that. And then this receptor over here would have the complementary shape. So just like an enzyme has a shape that's going to fit only a specific, I'm trying to make this the complement, a specific substrate, this receptor is only going to fit a specific ligand. So maybe something like this, okay? And maybe something like this. So that, I'm just saying, this molecule will then fit here, and it would have a perfect complement to this shape. So this shape right here, this yellow shape would be the same as this shape right here, right? It's kind of like the active site again and the enzyme. So it's going to have a perfect fit. Only the cells that have the receptor are going to have a response. So this is a receptor protein, and it might be on the surface embedded in the membrane, or it's possible that you could also have a receptor protein that's hanging out inside. Now that's only going to work for signals that can diffuse through the membrane through simple diffusion. So if this was an insulin signal, since this is a protein, this is polar, it would have to actually bind outside. It can't diffuse in. But if we had another signal that was released, and maybe it was estrogen, which is a steroid hormone, so it's made out of a lipid. So that again is non-polar. Non-polar, that can diffuse straight through, right, and go inside and then bind in here internally. So receptors can be on the surface or they can be inside. It just depends on the nature of the signaling molecule. Once the receptor protein receives the signal, then it can initiate an intracellular response. So when that response occurs, that is going to initiate a signal transduction pathway. So basically, you've got your cell. Say we've got a receptor out here. I'm just going to make it simple. So there's my receptor, and I had a ligand which bound to it. So remember, this is the ligand. That's just the name of the signaling molecule. When it's received by the receptor, right, here's my receptor, then it's going to initiate a series of reactions inside a biochemical pathway, right? So you've got the reaction A, and then that's going to go to reaction B, and then you have reaction C, and some of these are going to create cascades where that reaction is going to have D, E, F, right? And these have reactions. So that pathway eventually is going to lead to some sort of response. So maybe this is going to, if say it was insulin, it's going to result in the signal to uptake glucose. So that would activate something that's going to import glucose into the cell. It may also activate another response if you're starting to get a lot of glucose from the blood. It may activate the synthesis of a complex carbohydrate like glycogen. So it's going to actually start storing that glucose. So there could be multiple responses to a single type of signaling molecule. That's it for this video.